Good day everyone! Today we are going to talk about the psychosocial activity pack for teachers. So, as we all know, last March 15, 2022, there was this OUA Memo 00-0322-0145 Memorandum from the Secretary of Education. This is addressed for all the regional directors, BARMM, Minister of Basic, Higher and Technical Education, Schools Division Superintendents, Regional and Division DRRM Coordinators, and School Head. So this is about the orientation on the facilitation of psychosocial support to learners for the expanded implementation of face-to-face learning modality. And in that memo, it was discussed that under Joint Memorandum Circular Number 1 Series 2021 titled Operational Guidelines on the Implementation of Limited Face-to-Face Learning Modality, schools shall devote the first hour of the first 5 days to discuss modules related to mental health. So again, we are mandated to conduct 1 hour every day for the first 5 school days to discuss modules related to mental health. So that is the reason why I would like to discuss this psychosocial support activity pack, so we will have a guide and we will know how to use these psychosocial support activities, because the reality is majority of our teachers, of our advisors, probably they don't have this knowledge on how are we going to conduct these psychosocial support activities and what are the different kinds of activities that we can give to our learners. It is also stated here that psychosocial support activities should be integrated within class activities as needed for at least 2 weeks or until learners are more adjusted to the classroom setting. So magsisimula na naman ang school year 2022-2023. So maaring bago magsimula na naman ang school year, we will be mandated to conduct psychosocial support activities, but still we are going to wait for the memo. But for me as a guidance counselor, I highly recommend that all advisors should not begin their formal lessons yet at the first day of classes. So mas maganda na magkaroon muna ng konting mga activities for our learners para mas maging at ease muna and comfortable at makadevelop tayo ng rapport sa ating mga estudyante. So therefore, psychosocial activities are recommended for our students at the first hour of the school days, of the first 5 school days. Now, last April 7, 2022, the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service of the Central Office conducted this nationwide orientation regarding the psychosocial support activities for learners of all levels, and noted down all the important details about this psychosocial support activity pack, how we're gonna use this, and how are we going to run these activities to our learners. Here, they used the psychosocial support activity pack. So this is a teacher's guide, and this was developed and released for kindergarten, grade 1 to 3, and senior high school levels through the OUA Memo 00-1121-0125. This is entitled Dissemination of Psychosocial Activity Pack for Schools Participating in the Pilot Implementation of Limited Face-to-Face Learning Modality last November 8, 2021. So in our school, I was able to orient already our teachers on how they are going to use the psychosocial support activity pack. Well, we had this seminar, face-to-face seminar for our teachers, for them to learn. Okay, so para mas matutunan nila directly kung paano isasagawa itong mga psychosocial support activity pack. Now, kindergarten grade 1 to 3 and senior high school teachers may refer to the enclosure number 1 or the psychosocial support activity pack for learners for their use of the pack in their classroom. So, this item will also be part of the main reference guide for the orientation. So, yun ang naging content ng memo na ito. So, actually, ang pinaka-content nito is about the orientation. But, gusto ko lang na i-emphasize itong mga nakalagay dito sa memo na ito. Like, for Annex A, this is about the details of orientations on the kind of facilitation MHPSS for the expansion of face-to-face learning modality. So, the general purpose of the orientation was to ensure that teaching and non-teaching personnel are equipped with in conducting MHPSS activities as well as empowered and capable of leading the facilitation of its conduct in consideration of the mental health and well-being of learners and personnel in their successful transition back in the face-to-face learning modality. So, meron tayo dito mga specific objectives. So, if you're going to conduct this psychosocial support orientation for your school, for your teachers, now we can use this objectives as well. So, align knowledge and efforts on MHPSS among field offices and schools in line with the conduct of psychosocial support for learners in the transition to face-to-face learning modality and to guide teaching personnel in the end-to-end conduct and facilitation of psychosocial support for learners. Provide teaching personnel with references and guides in the conduct of psychosocial support activities in the classroom and inform and instruct teaching and non-teaching personnel in the conduct of the monitoring and evaluation activities for the further development of psychosocial support programs and activities. Let's try to go to the activity pack. Okay, so this is the full version of the psychosocial support activity pack. So just put your email addresses in the comment box if you want a copy of this. So I will send you the link of the soft copy of this pack. This is 103 pages of the complete full pack version of this activity pack. Now, as we can see, this is the cover page of the psychosocial support activity pack, and on the second page, we can see there the book usage record. So I believe they printed this. Soft copy lang po ito. So meron pong mga hard copy na pinaprecirculate ang DepEd Central Office. But at our end, wala pa kami nare-receive na hard copy. So may na-receive lang ako soft copy. So this is the page 3. Ayan. Nakalagay dito kung para saan ang activity pack na ito. So let's try to have this. The Psychosocial Support Activity Pack for Teachers, Kinder Grade 1 and 3 and Senior High School provides guidance for teachers to conduct psychosocial support activities for learners in line with the pilot implementation of limited face-to-face learning modality. Now, this packet is designed to bridge healthy social-emotional well-being to academic performance and hence can be used beyond the timeline for pilot implementation of limited face-to-face learning modality. Now, Republic Act 8293, Section 176 states that no copyright shall subsist in any work of the government of the Philippines. However, prior approval of the government agency or office wherein the work is created shall be necessary for exploitation of such work for profit. Now, such agency or office may, among other things, impose as a condition the payment of royalties. Ayan. So, therefore, may copyright tayong kailangang sundin para sa module na ito. That's why we are just using this for educational purposes only. So, we cannot reproduce this module. Okay? So, ayan. This is published by the Department of Education and the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service. Okay, so this is a project team, the project supervision and management team of the central office, and partner ng DepEd ang Magis Creative Spaces. Okay, so for the table of contents, now this is the content of the Psychosocial Support Activity Pack. Now, we are going to have this one by one. Okay? So, but later on, I will make a separate video for each activity. Okay? So, para alam natin kung paano natin i-deliver ang mga activity na to, because I was able already to try this for several trainings for teachers, and nagawa ko na din ito sa mga students, and napakaganda ng mga activities dito na talagang magagamit natin hindi lamang sa unang araw or unang linggo ng pasukan, kundi kung may mga activities tayo, mga workshop tayo na maaring related sa mga objectives, or pwede nating relate sa mga objectives na maaring makadevelop sa well-being ng ating mga estudyante. So we have here the introduction. So let's have this para mas maintindihan natin kung para saan ba ang Psychosocial Support Activity Pack na ito. The Coronavirus Disease 2019 Pandemic Crisis effects are not limited to physical health related concerns, but are also significantly affecting the mental health and well-being of both adults and children worldwide. And one of the sectors severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic is the education sector, due to the inevitable closure of schools. For almost a year, education was implemented through distance learning modality, and throughout this period, learners and personnel did not have physical interactions with friends and teachers. In the return to face-to-face classes, teachers and school personnel will be welcoming back children with diverse experiences of the effects of the pandemic. For some, for prolonged isolation and interruption of social life may have caused high stress and psychological consequences. Others may have experienced violence and neglect. Children coming from low-income families became most vulnerable to the economic consequences of the pandemic. Dealing with the diverse effects of the pandemic, teachers and school personnel must meet the children where they are and support their health and well-being as they return to in-person classroom learning. An experience of crisis can put an individual temporarily out of balance. Therefore, restoration of normalcy through the return to school after a crisis is a phase that can play a crucial role in a child's mental well-being. Now, in times of crisis, the education community must come together to ensure learning continuity and protect the right of every child to education. The provision of mental health and psychosocial support services is essential to ensure that children can access opportunities for healing and recovery. Hence, the Department of Education, through the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service, together with the Magis Creative Spaces Incorporated, developed a psychosocial support activity pack for teachers. This is for kinder, grades 1 to 3, and senior high school to use as a guide in conducting psychosocial support activities in the classroom. Through the conduct of psychosocial support activities in the classroom, teachers and school personnel can build a nurturing school environment that supports both the learning and the healing of the child. In this guide, you will find a handful of play and arts-based psychosocial support or PSS activities that have been thoughtfully designed to help students confidently say, I am, I have, and I can, even as we consistently have to adjust to changing circumstances and take extra care to remain safe. These activities are meant to enrich the students' well-being and social, emotional, and cognitive academic development. So this is the main reasons why we have this psychosocial support activity psychosocial support activity pack for our teachers. It's really intended for our dear advisors, for our dear teachers, para alam po natin kung paano tayo magbibigay ng psychosocial support activities sa ating mga mag-aaral. And sabi din sa packet na ito ay dinisenyo para makatulong din, ayan, to bridge healthy socio-emotional well-being to academic performance. So when students feel supported in school by compassionate adults, teachers, and their peers, they can perform well even in difficult times. Now this school year, students are adjusting back to face-to-face classes, and their arrival may come with excitement to be back in school, on an adjustment to face-to-face learning and safety protocols, but it can also come with difficult feelings, anxiety, anger, worry, and sadness. Now, ano ba yung role natin? As our role as a teacher accordingly is crucial in creating an atmosphere among your students of safety, calm, empathy, and confidence. Now, when conducting psychosocial support activities, your role is not to teach, ayan, but to be a companion to your students by being present and attuned to what emotions they are bringing back from home during this time of the pandemic. Now, through these activities, we're hoping you can create a classroom where both healing and learning thrive. Now, this packet is divided into 3 parts: the I am, I can, and I have, in order to develop specific psychosocial support skills. Yan ang pag-uusapan natin dito. Ano-ano ba yung mga psychosocial support skills ang gusto nating i-develop sa ating mga estudyante, at i-divide ito sa 3 parte, yung I am, I can, and I have. They are meant to be used in that order and to build on safety, self-awareness, and self-regulation first, and then move on to deeper exploration of the self, community, and community resources. Now, an annex is also provided with additional energizers and transitional activities to support your students' socio-emotional well-being and academic performance. You will also find other templates to use for creating your own activities, as well as some other frequently asked questions in using play and arts-based approaches for psychosocial support. Sabi din dito, we have some considerations in the time of COVID. Remember to maintain a healthy distance from each other during activity making, as well as observe minimum safety protocols such as wearing of mask and constant washing of hands or use of alcohol. So later on, i-discuss ko kung ano ba ang mga kailangan nating gawin. So we are going to discuss also how to use this PSS packet or psychosocial support packet. Ayan. And i-discuss ko din sa susunod kong video kung paano ba natin gagamitin ito, at ano ba ang mga kailangan nating gawin, at ano ba ang mga hindi natin dapat gawin sa pagbibigay ng psychosocial support activity. So, iisa-isahin po natin ang parte ng psychosocial support activity pack na ito. Thank you so much.